Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, we were discussing the introduction to the first verse of the Ishavasya Upanishad, Shankara's introduction. And the last sentence is that those who, the previous sentence to the last, that is, those who know, who can judge what is fit for whom, which portion of the Vedas is meant for which adhikari. They say that only that those who have got two things, two qualities. Work is meant for those who have got two things. That is, one is Arthitva and second is Abhimanitvam. Arthitva means, he is explaining it, those who want things, those who have got desire for things. And it is little more elaborately explained by like this: Sukham me syat, dukkham me ma bhoot. Iti arthitvam. That let me have happiness, let me not have misery. So for him is work meant. What does this mean? Everybody, is it something? It's showing that there is the other side of the picture also is there, where this thing is not there. That I have misery now and I should have happiness. Therefore, I need to perform actions to get happiness in this world, to remove obstacles to happiness in this world, and also to get happiness in the other worlds. So the basic conception here is that I am unhappy now. Why am I unhappy? Because I have got identification with this body and mind, which is the home of all anartha, which is the home of all unhappiness. So that basic wrong identification has already taken place, and you want to remove, and that you have taken for granted. Yes, I have this state of mind, that is this state of identity with the body is something that is natural to me. Now I want to go to heaven to gain happiness. That's a wrong conception. In fact, we can have the conception that yes, I have got this body now, but this is not my true nature. The real purpose of my life is to regain the knowledge of my real nature. There is nothing. Right now, I have to perform works. If I perform works with the proper attitude, it will lead to the regaining of my real nature. That is perfectly alright. But to say that this arthitva, this desire, that is a natural state, and for them rites and rituals have been told. That is, the adhikari is different. One is the one who wants real knowledge, yadhatmya jnana. That is the first mantra is for that, for the sannyasi. And second mantra is for that who is got arthitva in him, who has got this wrong identification in him. So he has to do works with a proper attitude to get over that identification. And again, he has got abhimanitva. What is abhimanitvam? That I am able to do works. I've got money with me. Because rites and rituals requires a lot of effort and lot of money also. So many things has to be purchased. So many rules and regulations are there. So money is also required. So when arthitva and abhimanitva is there, then for them the ritualistic portion is meant. For those who have got desire for doing things, and for those who have got that identification with that ability to do things. And But this is not applicable to the sannyasi. This was told. Therefore, the introduction is being concluded. Tasmadede mantraha atmano yadhatmya pragashanena atma vishayam swabhavigam ajnanam nivartayantaha. Therefore, what does these mantras, tasmadede mantraha, what do these mantras do? Atmano yadhatmya pragashanena. It highlights the real nature of the self. And by doing so, by thus highlighting the real nature of the self, what it does? Atma Vishayam Swabhavigam Ajnanam Nivartayantaha. Whatever ignorance is there with reference to the self, that which covers the self, but it wants to remove that, reverse that. So, through these mantras, what is aimed at? The removal of ignorance that covers our real nature. That Swabhavigam Ajnanam. Shoga Mohadi Samsara Dharma Vichitti Sadhanam Atma Egatvadi Vijnanam Utpadayanti. And Swabhavigam, it removes ignorance, and thus, what does it do? Atma Egatvadi Vijnanam Utpadayanti. It generates the knowledge. It becomes cause. It becomes the cause. This removal of ignorance becomes the cause for the generation of knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Egatvadi Vijnanam. That the Atman is non-dual. Egatvadi. Adi, it was told, there was a big list was given. Shuddhatva, Abhava Vidhatva, Akartrutva, Abhoktrutva, Ega Sharira, like Agashopama, that Sarvagada, Asharira, that body was not there, that list was given. Like that, Atma Vishayam Swabhavigam Ajnanam Nivartayantaha Shoga Mohadi Samsara Atma Egatvadi Vijnanam Utpadayanti. And what does this Atma Egatvadi Vijnanam do? It is the cause of Shoga Mohadi Samsara Dharma Vichitti Sadhanam. That Shoka and Moha, sorrow and delusion, these are the two. Wherever samsara is there, this is there. It is a characteristic of samsara, Shoka and Moha. Samsara bija bhutau Shoka Mohau. Shankara says in the Gita that the cause of samsara, the cause of the endless transmigratory state is sorrow and delusion. That is the characteristic. Wherever you have wherever these characteristics are there, samsara is there. Shoka and moha. Delusion also is there. Delusion means what? Wrong knowledge. That it is told by Shankara in the Gita itself. Bhranti pratyaya nimitta. Sneha vichedadi nimitta. Bhranti ahamesham. I belong to them, they belong to me. Once this identification comes, all shoga and that is called shoka and moha. It gives rise to these two things, and these are the characteristics of the transmigratory, the state of samsara or the state of rebirth. So this Atma Egatvadi Vijnanam is the sadhanam, is the means of shoga mohadi samsara dharma vicheda. That samsara dharmas like shoka and moha are totally destroyed, uprooted. Iti evam ukta adhigari avideya sambandha prayojanan mantran sangshepato vyakhyasthyamaha. Therefore, these mantras have got a particular adhigari that is different from those of the ritualistic portion. It has got a different avideya, subject matter. It has got a different prayojana, purpose, and it has got a separate sambandha. That is what I told, how how it leads, how the study of the text leads to moksha. That is the sambandha. Bodhya bodhaga sambandha. The bodhya is the vishaya. We have to be convinced about the subject matter and the way in which the text convinces us about it. That is sambandha. So, sambandha prayojana mantran sankshepato vyakhyasya. So, these mantras which have got a different adhikari, vishaya, sambandha and prayojana, I am going to explain. Now, the first mantra is Isha Vasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena gunjithaha ma gridhah kasya svidhnam. This is the first mantra. So, Jagatyam, Prithvivyam means in this universe, ei Brahmande, Bangla boya che tar vitre anvayartho korchi. Yet kincha, jaha kichu, Jagat, Anitya, Charachara, Vikari, Vastu Samu. Jagat means that which moves, but it is extended, the meaning is extended to whatever is moving, any creature that is moving or non-moving. Not only in this world, if there are higher worlds, it is applicable to even gods, or if there are demons, to them also. So for every kind of beings. Ache idam sarvam Isha Vasyam. Jagatyam yatkincha jagat idam sarvam Isha Vasyam. In this world, whatever is moving or non-moving, all that is to be covered by God. That is, we should realize that the same God is dwelling in my heart, in your heart, in every being's heart. This is what is meant here. It will be explained in the Bhashya later on. Tena tyaktena bunjitaha. Through this tyaga. Tyakta is actually, the literal meaning will be je tyakto hoyache. Je chede diyeche. Je jinishta amra chede diyeche take tyakto bole. But that is not the meaning that is meant here. Here it means the very act of giving up. Tena tyaga. Tena tyagena bunjitaha. Atmanam. We should supply that word. Through that tyaga, you should protect yourself. Palayetaha. Bunjitaha. Palayetaha. Bhuja. There is a bhuj dhatu is there. Palana, two meanings are given by Panini. Palana and abhyavahara. Taking food is called bhuj dhatu is used, and protection is also called bhuj dhatu. Actually, the meaning, rule of grammar is that in the sense of protecting, it should be parasmepadi, not atmanepadi. But here it is atmanepadi is given. One should protect oneself. So that we should understand it that it is a Vedic license. The Vedic licenses, they can, that is, they have got the license to overrule grammar. They can tweak the rules here and the Sanskrit grammar rules. So this Bunjita is an example of that tweaking, where Atmanepati is used for protection. Tena tyagena bunjithaha ma gridhah kasya svidhnam ma gridhah. Don't desire anyone's wealth. So this is the meaning. Now we will just read a little bit that meaning alone in Bangla. Brahmande jaha kichu anitya vastu ache. E samastoi parameshware dwara avaraniya. Uttam रूप त्यागेर द्वारा पालन आत्मा के पालन करो. काहारो धने लोभ करियो ना अथवा धने आकांक्षा करियो ना कारण धन आभार आहार. This is the meaning. Now we will see the Bhashya. Ishavasya Isha. Ishte iti eat. Now he is explaining the word Isha, the root of the word Isha. It's coming from the verbal root called Isha. Isha means Ishte, that the lat lagar, that is the present tense, the first person, the third person, singular, present tense form of the Isha dhatu is Ishte. Ishte, Isha, Ishade, Ishate. Like that it will go. So that is being explained. The verbal root is Ish. To that, the quid pratyaya comes. There is one pratyaya that is used for converting verbal roots to noun forms. So it looks exactly like a verb, but it will be a noun. So this also is an example of this ish. Eat word is also an example of that. And the third case of that, the tritiya, the instrumental case of that word, eat is isha. Isha, eat, isha, isha. Isha, like that it will go on. So, Isha, eat, eat, tena Isha. By that means instrumental sense. By that God, all this is to be covered. Ishita Parameshwaraha Paramatma Sarvasya. Who is the Ishita? Who is that who controls? Isha means controller. So, who is that controller? God is the controller. The Supreme Ishvara is the controller. And who is that Parameshwara? Again it comes. That three things that was told earlier. Brahman, that which is the reality of the world, is the reality of this body-mind complex, and that is that which creates, preserves and destroys this universe. Isha, let us say, Swamiji's one, that very famous explanation of God is in that Chicago lectures. He says that is it an endless it is not an endless prison of cause and effect. It is not a prison of unforgiving laws, not an endless prison of cause and effect. But at the head of all these laws, it means laws of nature that are very unforgiving, that are very rigid, and that crushes everybody. Swamiji is describing that. Then how do you escape from these laws? That's how do you escape from Maya? That is what Swamiji is telling them. Then he says that at the head of all these laws, at the head of all these unforgiving laws, in and through every particle of matter and force, in and through every particle of matter and force, stands one by whose command the wind blows, the fire burns, the clouds rain, and death stalks upon the earth. And he is everywhere, the pure and the formless one, the Almighty and the All-Merciful. In Swamiji's words, Isha, God, is being described here. That at the head of all these laws, unforgiving laws, there stands one by whose command the wind blows, the fire burns, the clouds rain, and death stalks upon the earth. Which itself is an interpretation of some Vedic mantras. So that is what Isha is. Isha. By that God we have to cover everything. Isha Vasyam ityadi. Isha ishte ittena Ishida Parameshwaraha Paramatma Sarvasya. Ishida, the controller, is the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Self and of all, not only of me, of every creature in this world. Sahi Sarvam Ishte. that God, that Supreme Lord who is the Supreme Self of all, Sahi Sarvam Ishte, He alone controls everything. Sarva Jandunam Atma San Pratyagatmadaya. How does He control everything? By being the Atma of every creature, by being the Self of all creatures, by Pratyagatmadaya, by being their innermost essence. He controls everything. Tena Svena Rupena Atmana Isha Vasyam Achadaniyam. Tena Svena Rupena, by His own form, Atmana, by His own real nature. Our Svena, why is it called Svena? Tena Svena Rupena, by one's own nature. Because the body and mind, these are not our real nature. Our real Swarupa is that, our Ishwaratva is our real Swarupa. That is what is meant here. Tena Svena Rupena Atmana Isha Vasyam Achadaniyam. We should cover. Kim, what should be covered? We should cover Isha Vasyam. Idam Sarvam. All this. Idam Sarvam. So Idam is told here. What is Idam? Idam is an Upalakshana. Is represent this. All this should be covered. So what is this? So Shankara says that in the tyga it is told that this word is representative of whatever is wherever nama, rupa and karma is there. Whether it be in this world or in the other worlds. Everything. Even gods are there. They are belief. That is the Hindu belief that gods are there in heaven. They are rulers of their world. But that also should be covered with God. That God that is dwelling within our heart. It is not superior. Those gods are not superior to that. That is the main point. So, that idam sarvam, all this means wherever name, form and activity is there, all that should be covered. Idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam prithivyam jagat. Gacchati idi jagat, it is that which moves, anything that moves is jagat. So, all this, so it is told like this, all this world means whatever moves. Wherever name, form and action is there, that should be covered. Tat sarvam svena atmana ishena pratyagatmadaya. All that, this was told before. Svena atmana ishena, again it is being repeated as adjectives. Pratyagatmadaya. Now comes an important phase. What is the attitude with which it should be covered? Ahameva idam sarvam iti paramartha satya rupena. Ahameva idam sarvam. My real nature. Aham we cannot say actually. Only a person, because he is talking from the standpoint of the highest person. So from the idealistic point of view only you can say, I have become anything. But we can say that my real self is Ishvara. Or we can even say, my real, you see, if we are followers of Sri Ramakrishna, we can say, Sri Ramakrishna is my real self, and we should feel that he is present in everybody's heart, and that way everything should be covered. Idam sarvam idi paramartha satya rupena. Through that, paramartha satya rupena. From the highest standpoint, the truth from the highest standpoint. Anrudam idam sarvam characharam achadaniyam svena paramatmana. All these unreal things, whether moving or not moving, is to be covered. Now he is giving a metaphor to describe this covering. How it happens. What is the... So one metaphor is being given. Like Thakur is using different stories, different metaphors. Like how do you live in the world? By cutting the jackfruit, rubbing your hands with oil and and you cut open the jackfruit, and thus the milk of the jackfruit do not stick to your hands. Likewise here another metaphor is given. Yada chandana agarvadehe udagadi sambandhaja kledadijam aupadhigam daudanthyam tat swarupa nikharshanena achhadyate svena paramarthikena gandhena tadvadevahi. Like that. How? When chandana and this chandana is there, that is sandalwood stick. One piece of sandalwood is there. If it is kept if it comes in touch with moisture, a kind of fungal thing comes upon it. It becomes covered with a kind of fungus. If it is not wiped after its use, it has to be wiped properly and kept. But if it is kept in a wet condition and it is not used for some time, a kind of fungal growth comes on it, and which gives a bad smell, which is not natural to it. To remove that bad smell, what you have to do, you go on again, pressing it, or you go on that chandana, you go on pressing it or moving it. Then the natural smell of the sandalwood comes again to the fore. So here it is told, Chandana agarvadehe udagadi sambandhaja kledadijam aupadigam daurgandhyam. That daurgandhya, that durgandha, that bad smell is not natural to the chandana. It is something that has come to it from outside. So in order to remove that adventitious bad smell, you go on crushing it, or you go on moving it against a stone or something, and you remove that bad smell. And then its smell that is natural to it comes again, it comes naturally again, it manifests again. Even like that is Swatmani Adhyastam Swabhavigam Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat Dvaita Rupam Jagatyam Prithivvyam Jagatyam iti Ubalakshanartatvat Sarvameva Namarupa Karmakhyam Vikara Jadam Paramartha Satyatma Bhavanaya Tyaktam Syat. So like that, this bad smell is removed like that. What is advantageous in our personality, what is advantageous is Swabhavigam Swatmani Adhyastam Swabhavigam Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat Dvaita Rupam. Swatmani Adhyastam. Like Swabhav, the words is the swab, that which is superimposed in the self, that which is superimposed in the consciousness, that which is mixed up with our real nature, consciousness. What is that? Swabhavigam Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat. Swabhavigam Jagat. Swabhavigam has got a technical meaning here. What is Swabhavigam? That which is born out of ignorance is called Swabhavigam. That ignorance has come, and ignorance plays, it is not that ignorance just covers, it is very mischievous, it creates positive trouble also. It is not that it is simply covered, it projects things before us, it creates delusive visions before us, which also we have to get rid of. So ignorance has got that property also, it covers as well as it deludes. Two things it does. So this second thing is told here. What does it do? It Swatmani, it superimposes in the self Swabhavigam. Swabhavigam means it is an effect of ignorance. And also one more thing is indicated by the word Swabhavigam, that it can be sublated, that it will be destroyed. This ignorance is something that can be Badha Yogyatvam, can be destroyed also. And what is that which can be destroyed, which has been superimposed and which is capable of being destroyed? That is Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat. This world. And what is this world? The subject-object split is called world. And that is why it is called Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat. That I am a Karta, I have to do this thing to fulfill myself, and I have to enjoy the fruit of this action. This is Kartritva Bhoktritvadi Lakshanam Jagat. Prithivvyam Jagatyam ityubalakshanartatvat. So Jagatyam Jagat Dvaita Rupam. Which is Dvaita Rupam? dual in nature. And again, Dvaita means this. Subject-object split is Dvaita. When I say I, the you is already there. It doesn't mean any this book or that or anything. The moment I say I, that binary is created. The you also is created. So, it is, that is what is meant here. Jagat Dvaita Rupam. So that real nature, this Dvaita Rupa, this is the adventitious thing that has been added to our real nature, which is compared to the bad smell that has temporarily come upon the piece of sandalwood. And and you remove it, just like that, you think of the meaning of these mantras. That is what is meant by this, that nigharshana of the sandalwood. That moving to and fro of the sandalwood stick. So Nigharshana means here. What is Nigharshana in the metaphor? It means in the real thing. It is meant the thinking again and again of our real nature with the help of these mantras. Repeating these mantras and thinking of its meaning. That is Nigharshana. That is what aids the removal of our superimposed, deluded nature, and our own real nature will come back to the fore. Tadvadevahi jagati prithvyam jagatyam iti ubalakshanatatvat sarvameva namarupa karmakhyam vikara jatam paramartha satyatma bhavanaya tyaktam syat. All these changes, Paramartha Satyatma Bhavanaya Tyaktam Syat. Paramartha, the highest thing, the most Paramartha means that which is the highest thing in this world, or which is supremely purposeful thing. That also can be told. Parama Artha. Artha can be a thing, or Artha can also be a purpose. So, Paramartha Satyatma, and that is Satya, Paramartha Satya, the highest truth. Satya Atma Bhavanaya, thinking of it as the self, then these that adventitious things leave us. That is, that I have got this body, this mind, that this subject-object split, which has wrongly come upon us, which is a superimposition in our real nature, will go away. एवं ईश्वरात्म भावनया युक्तस्य पुत्रादि एषणात्रय संन्यासे एव अधिकारो न कर्मसु. एवं ईश्वरात्म भावनया युक्तस्य. For one person who is for one who thus thinks of he who is continuously he is continuously doing this thing. Ishwaratma Bhavana, who is continuously contemplating on him, contemplating his real nature, who is always trying to think of God, who is trying to meditate on God. Evam Ishwaratma Bhavanaya Yuktasya Putradi Eshanatraya Sannyase Eva Adhikaro. This is one important, when we come to Shankara, this is something, it's a technical term. Putradi Eshanatrayaha Eva Adhikaro na karmasu. There are three kinds of Eshana, means desires. Three kinds of desires are mentioned. Putreshana, Vitteshana and Lokeshana. This is what the normal our activities in the world are. These are the three desires that Vedas admit. It is good to have these desires. Other desires are wrong. Putradi Eshana means a desire for a son. Means it is actually the desire for continuity in this world. It is believed that unless you have got a son and you do that, when you die, the son performs that rites of death. You cannot get entry into the world of names or the world of Pitraloka. So it is actually, son is also connected with the desire for Pitraloka, ancestors, the world of the ancestors. So this is Putradi Eshana. So this son helps you in gaining the world of manes, M-A-N-E-S, manes, which is our own ancestors, the world where our forefathers have departed, the same world. Next is Vitteshana. Vitteshana is desire for wealth. We have to support ourselves, and for doing all these sacrifices, money is required. So Vitta is also, and to support in the modern context, to support our family, we require money. So that also is meant, that is another one of the desires, legitimate desires that are met. That is desire for wealth. Third one is Lokaishana. Lokaishana is what is the subject matter of the Vedas. That is, you want to attain the higher worlds. That is, the world of manes is a higher world, but higher than that is the Devaloka. There are 7 worlds that are mentioned. Bhur, Bhuva, Suva, Mahajana, Tapas, Satyam. Some worlds through the sun you attain, the world of manes. You don't require much of meditation or anything for that. But if you want to attain the higher worlds, you have also to meditate. You have to do works with the proper attitude. Then you attain the higher worlds than the mains, which is the Suvar Loka, the world of the gods. The world of the gods. Then again higher worlds are there. If you do upasanas more, if you do more spiritual practices, the more higher worlds are attained. The world of those who practice austerities. And then the highest world is what is called Brahma Loka, where you attain union with the creator Brahma, to simplistically put it. So all these worlds are there. So these are the 3 Eshanas that are told, desires, legitimate desires. Putreshana, Vitteshana and Lokeshana. Putradi Eshanatraya Sanyase eva adhigaro na karmasu tena tyaktena tyagena ityartaha. Now he is making it here. Tyakta means, doesn't mean anything that is protect yourself by anything that you have given up. No. It cannot be like that. It is, what is meant here is tyagena. By this act of giving up. By what is this giving up is again explained. By covering everything with God. Tena tyagena. Nahi tyakto brudha putro va bhrityo va atma sambandhitaya abhavat atmanam palayati ataha tyagena iti it ayam eva vedartha. What is meant, the Vedas, the purport of the mantra is tyagena, not tyaktena, because he is telling you have given up something, like the son has died, son has gone, or son you got some angry with some people, you have sent him away, some of your relatives, they will not protect you. So it is something impractical. It's just some common sense wisdom is being used here. But what it means is, the main point is tyakta should be interpreted as tyaga. Bunchitaha, palayetaha. This is one important point, grammatical point. Bunchitaha means, it is actually bhuj dhadu, which it can have 2 meanings. One is eating as well as protecting. And eating is normally used in Atmanepati, and protecting is used in Parasmepati. But here Atmanepati is used in the sense of protecting. That is what is meant. Bunchitaha palayetaha. Evam tyakteshanaha tvam maghritaha. Gridhim akanksha mahakashihi dhana vishaya. Thus tyakta eshanaha tvam. Thus you who have thus given up these 3 desires, the sannyasi has to give up all these 3 desires. Desire for wealth, desire for progeny, and desire for attaining the higher worlds. Evam tyakteshanaha tvam ma gridhah. Don't, ma is a negative element of negation. Ma gridhah, don't desire, don't have greed for anything. Gridhah, we can think of it, that similarity is there in the English word greed. It is like that. Ma gridhah. Gridhim, that word is again explained, Akanksha Ma Karshihi. This Ma is a word that in Sanskrit, little grammatical point is there. This Ma, when it comes in contact with a verbal root used in the past tense, it is called lug, like the immediate past, like not the distant past, the immediate past. So when it is used, it loses its now like Klaibhyam Masmagama Partha. Klaibhyam Masmagamaha. The real word there is Agamaha, which is Twam, and it is Lung. Lung, what is that called? Yushmat, that is the second person. Third person is this, that, and the second person is you, etc. So it is used in the second person. Ma Klaibhyam Masmagamaha. Don't resort to Klaibhyatva. So the real word there is Agamaha. But when the element of negation Ma comes there, the A goes away. And it gets a meaning of, it gets a sense of the present tense comes there. So this is a grammatical rule because it's a very famous verse, Klaibhyam Masmagamaha. So that this is that when Ma is coming, that Agamaha, Akara goes away out of the lung, and the meaning also becomes of the present tense. Like that, here also the same thing is happening. Agamsham Ma Akarshihi should be the word. You should not desire. Akarshihi, I don't desire, or I have not desired, or you should not desire. In the past tense it is used. It is difficult to translate it into English. But when that Ma comes, it uses the Akara and the sense of the present tense comes there. So it comes an imperative sense comes there. You should do that. Gridhah Agansham Ma Karshihi. Don't desire anybody's wealth. Dhana Vishayam Agansham Ma Karshihi. Kasya Svidhnam Kasyajit Parasya Swasya Va Dhanam Ma Karshihi Ityartaha. Kasya Svidhnam, whose is wealth, means what is told here is you should not desire wealth that either belongs to you or to anybody else. Svit it anarthavo nipadaha. Svit doesn't have any particular meaning. Just a general sense, whether it is there or not, it does not make any great difference to the meaning. Then, adhava ma gridhah, or two meanings are given. Ma gridhah kasya svidhanam. Don't desire anybody's wealth. This is one meaning. The second meaning, it splits it into two. Ma gridhah, don't desire anything. Don't desire anything. Why? Kasya svidhanam. Does wealth belong to anybody? So it is like that. Nindartha. That is, wealth is something, it is not such an important thing that you should worry about it. So it is, there a Nindartha comes to dhana. But in the first sense, Ma gridhah kasya svidhanam. Don't desire anybody's wealth. So the second sense is told here. Kasmat kasya svidhanam iti akshepartho na kasyajit dhanam asti yad gridhyeda. Dhana does not belong to anybody for you to desire it. Swamiji says in that one inspired talks, all wealth belongs to God, all the men in the world are only shopkeepers. Because shopkeepers are just distributing the thing, that's all. Atma eva idam sarvam iti Ishvara bhavanaya sarvam tyaktam ada atmana eva idam sarvam atma eva cha sarvam atho Mitya Vishayo Gridhim Ma Karshihi Ityartaha. Therefore, now he's that in that entire meaning in a nutshell is being described in the last sentence. Atma eva idam sarvam. That everything is the self. There are two things you can say. That is why he's giving two meanings are told. One is from the standpoint, practical standpoint, when you want to approach this teaching, that everything belongs to the self. Consciousness is supreme. It's like Swamiji says that matter is not yours. You are not the servant of matter. Matter is your servant, Swamiji says. So, that sense comes. That's a practical implication of this verse. That is the idealistic implication and the practical implication. The practical implication is that the Atman is, consciousness is supreme, and all these things are what we desire are inert things. Why should I desire it? And the highest, from the most highest philosophical standpoint, if you say Atma eva idam sarva, that all this, the consciousness itself has become everything. It is the self itself that has become everything. If the self has become everything, what is there which I can desire? So this is the second meaning is given here. Atma eva idam sarvam iti Ishvara bhavanaya sarvam tyaktam ada atmanaha eva idam sarvam. Atma eva cha sarvam. Or you can say that the self has become everything. Ato mitya vishayam gridhim ma kashihi ityartha. Therefore, do not desire anything, this mithya gridhi, this kind of unreal desire for this false desires for falsely identified desires for the things of the worlds, do not give it up. That is what is the meaning of the first verse. Now here one more thing can be added, that is Ishwaratma Bhavana. That is being explained here, the tyga like this. Just like a mirror, like a one's face is reflected in many mirrors kept around you. That is the way you should see all creatures, all this thing. That is what is told here, that the same God is reflected in the hearts of every Sarvatmakaha Ishvara. This is what is told here. Ishwaratmadam eva sarvam. That is that. That Ishwaratmadam eva sarvam. That in everyone's heart, God is there. Like the same face being reflected in many mirrors. Like that, that is the way that you should cover everything with God. This one sentence is used there. So Vasa is the Isha Vasyam. Vasyam means kartavyam, we say. It is the tavya pratyaya comes here. In the kartum yogyaha, vasitum yogyaha. So vas here means vasa achadane, covering. So you should cover everything. That is the meaning. Vasa achadane. It is that which is worth being covered with. Anything in this world it becomes worthwhile only when it is covered with God. We can take the meaning like that. So, vasitum yogyam vasyam. What is that? Idam sarvam. All these things. So now I think that first verse is ending. So now the plan of the Shankara's, there are different ways in which we can interpret these two slokas. Now, Shankara's interpretation is strictly philosophical or strictly idealistic, whereas Swamiji's interpretation is more practical oriented. These difference has to be kept in mind. Because he will tell that this mantra is meant only for the sannyasi. The instruction is explicitly given to the sannyasi. That is, he should give up all kinds of desires and cover everything with Lord. But practically, it is applicable to householders also. That is what Swamiji is telling in his lectures. He is showing how do you apply it to your own life. All these things are described. And the second verse he says is strictly for those who cannot do this. It is meant for it is a vidhi. It is an injunction for sannyasa. The first mantra is an injunction for sannyasa, and the second mantra is an injunction for doing a householder's life. If you cannot do the first thing, go to the second thing. But when you see, but these things are very, the practical viewpoint, the person, because it is only nobody is born a sannyasi or nobody is born a householder. Both the qualities of both are present in everybody. But you develop one thing to the exclusion of the other. So that is the main point that we have to understand from this. It is not a clear-cut division like that, okay, the sannyasis, these mantras are meant for sannyasis, we should not practice it. No, it is not like that. But it is we have to follow the lifestyles of both are different. This we have to understand. Nitya Vishayam Gridhah Maa Kashiti. Now the next mantra goes like this. So before doing that, I think it is better to complete the second mantra and the third mantra, then we will go there. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishet chadam samaha evam tvayi nanyadhedosti na karma lipyate nare. Kurvan eva iha karmani jijivishet shatam samaha. Iha, in this world. Karmani kurvan eva. Doing works, by doing works only. By going on doing works only. It's a present participle like. Doing things you like. The gacchado balaha. That the boy who is going, we say. Like that it is coming. It is the present participle is used here. Kurvanneveha iha karmani. By doing works only, shadam samaha jiji vishet. One should desire to live 100 years in this world. Jiji vishet means jivitum ichet. It is one san pratyaya comes in Sanskrit. Whenever you say any verb, you desire to do it. Then that verbal root becomes doubled and one sakara comes at the end of it. And in certain cases that sakara becomes, that dantasa becomes murdhanyasha according to the previous sound. Like when ikara comes, it becomes murdhanyasha. So it is actually one san pratyaya comes. So it actually means jijivisha means jivitum icha, the desire to live. So, you should desire to live in this world 100 years by doing work only. Then it is told, evam tvayi. Evam tvayi means, tvayi is there is a kind of usage in Sanskrit, it is called sati saptami, conditional clause. Doing this, that is the saptami, the seventh case is used in order to indicate the conditional clause, like examples are like sitting on the chair. I am reading this book. Now, the conditional clause is not like that. One verb is the cause of another verb. That is what. Going to the school. If you are going to the school, you should do such and such a work. then in this case, this conditional clause is used. That the first one will be in the seventh case. The first condition will be given in the seventh case, the Saptami Vibhakti. Evam tvayi na anyatha itaha na anyatha asti. Evam tvayi itaha na anyatha asti. Evam tvayi nare. That comes like it becomes connected like that. Evam tvayi nare itaha anyatha na asti yatha karma na lipyate. Evam tvayi nare. Of you who have been told, thus who have to do works like this, in the above, who have been told has to perform works like you have to desire to live 100 years by doing works only for that person. So it is told, Evam tvayi nare, this instructions that have been given to you. Nare means narabhimanini, who identifies with this body. There is no other way, there is no other option for knowledge or wisdom open to you. That is, only these two routes are there. Either you take up the path of jnana, see everything, try to see everything, cover everything with God, or you take up the path of karma, accompanied by the proper attitude. And apart from these two things, no other option or no other path is open to you. Itaha, from this, anyatha na asti, there is no other path. Itaha means what? That from this kurvan karmani eva, by doing work alone, you should desire to live in this world. Evam tvayi, of you who have been told to do works in this world and thus desire to live in this world. That is the thing. Just read the meaning. Iha shatam samaha karmani kurvan eva jiji vishet. Iha shatam samaha karmani kurvan eva jiji vishet. Why you should 100 years by doing works only, you should desire to live in this world. Evam nare tvayi. Here it is what is called the conditional clause. Evam nare tvayi. Of you who is thus a narabhimanini, who identifies with a body. Itaha anyatha na asti. Other than this, there is no other way. Yatha karma na lipyate, by which work will not taint you. There is no way other than this by which work will not taint you. So it is over. The meaning goes like this. Je vyakti ei jagate shada vatsar bachya thakite utsuk. Tini shastra vihita karma koriyai bachite ichha kurime. यही प्रकार आयुष्कामियो नराभिमानी तुम्हार पक्षे एतद व्यतीत अन्य कोनो उपाय नाय जहाते तुम्हाते अशुभ कर्म लिप्तो ना होइते पारे. So if ashubha karma, that is bad, the bad actions, if you desire that the undesirable effects of actions should not taint you, then this is the only option that is open to you. You should desire to live in this world doing good works the scriptural ordained works. That is what is told here. Acha, this then it is. I think we will take it up in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.